Okay, I'm back. I have eaten the Smart Foods white cheddar popcorn, like the little bags of it. I've eaten a lot of that and some meatballs. So I am refreshed. But now I am having the frog and throat problem again, which ain't great. Yeah, there we go. Change that around. Okay, so where we were at. Oh, hey. Mask of Delirium. 9% chance to avoid projectiles. Huh. Okay. Applied to metals. Grant Soul Strike. Well, I guess we can learn that. No harm in that. Here's hoping that the frogs eventually leave my throat. Remains of Malkadar. Oh, hey, we did get that. Alright, cool. I'm still going to check the long guns, just to see if we've got anything relevant. I'm really hoping that we get some, I mean, that's 9% chaos resistance, but I don't know about that. Physical damage retaliation. Well, we're not doing a retaliation build, so... Alright, let's get rid of that. This. Alright, well... Plus 9% cunning. That's not bad. I just like the resistances that we've got from the equipment that we have on right now. I like the suite of resistances. I kind of wish the chaos resistances were doing more to keep us from getting obliterated by chaos damage. But, you know, whatever. Ah, goodness. Any luck recovering those insignias? Yes, here they are. Thank you. It may seem like a small gesture to you, but you've helped honor the Legion's fallen, and we do not forget that. Please take these iron bits as compensation. It is the least we can do in return. 1,500 iron, and 250 to the Black Legion. Thank you. Thank you very much.
See anything you like?
See
you around.
Okay.
I'll keep your stash safe.
Let's stash all this stuff. Especially the dynamite. Well, as I've said before, might as well pump the character points into cunning, since we have stuff that can be put into like skill points that can be used to pump up physique and spirit, so we don't really need that so much. It's not that big of a deal that we don't have as high spirit or physique yet. Because think about it, like 1% of this is still what, like 4? Right? 4 physique, and then once we get up to 5%, that'd still be 20. That's not that bad. But the other thing is that the physique requirement for gear, you know, we have reason to not worry about that too, because instead of like just getting the physique up, we can lower the requirements for gear by a lot. I don't know why my headset's extra creaky now. Hopefully that solves that a little bit. Of course, I don't know if that even shows up on the recording anymore with some of the settings that I've got, so... You know, OBS is kind of difficult to figure out a little bit, but the Brave, I don't know why I keep doing that. The Brave search AI and the Brave browser is really good for helping with like technical stuff. I'm telling you, it's like incredible. It's really, really good for stuff like that. And I'm gonna be real, like the Brave browser is just really good in general, but that's a whole other topic. Have you done as I asked, Initiate? Yes, I have the remains. Look at our XP bar. I mean, really, you do get a lot of XP for doing these. You have entered the pit of despair and emerged unscathed. Impressive. Perhaps you truly are worthy of the Order. Should you be interested, the next task is both an opportunity to strike out at the Legion's enemies and to aid our cause. What is it? The Cult of Cthon is experienced in summoning rituals, something we can use to our advantage. We will take what we need from the cult while crippling them in the process. Interested? Go on. The cult uses chthonic seals of binding to maintain the rifts into the void. Many of their more powerful members carry these on their person at all times. Should the cult be denied these seals, then their rituals will destabilize, denying them valuable reinforcements. Their loss is our gain. Bring me the seals so that we can use them to stabilize our own ritual. I will gather the seals. Well, there should be, I think. I thought... See, that's kind of... I wanted to say that there was a stash. Oh, we can look at Laruka's journal. I'll just scroll down slowly so that you can, you know... Yeah, okay. I was kind of hoping that there was a stash nearby, like a smuggler. I don't know why they didn't add one here, like it for both factions. That's kind of dim. But we have chthonic seals of binding, or at least we should. So we can legit just go get that, come back, kind of a deal. Oh crud, I forgot to check the time. I think I have a good grasp on how long we've been going, so... Here's hoping, fingers crossed, that this doesn't turn into a 12 gigabyte video. Yeah, I guess we'll go to Homestead. I mean, there's a smuggler, Devil's Crossing, it's just that it's a tiny bit more of a travel distance in one of them. Okay, so where are those seals? I thought we had more than this. We should have had more than that. Okay, well I still want to have at least one on hand for purposes, other purposes. We'll get them kind of naturally, so it's not that big of a deal. We can kind of treat that like a background progress thing. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, and we have another devotion point that I almost completely forgot about. And that should be the last one in the Hydra. Yeah, excellent. So with that, we have some stuff open up. So all of the ones that are lit up, we can go into, which we have a lot lit up now. I'm not sure if I had actually pointed out one before. But ideally, I want to get some that don't have this kind of stuff. Now, one interesting thing is if we wanted to go for Light of Empyrean. So let's take a look at the primordial stuff. Let's take a look at the Scarab. That shield and armor, that's not really that good. But it does, okay, let's look at order and see what we can cross-class into. The Tortoise? Huh. That's not that great, actually, but let's see what else we get from the Tortoise. We could also go for the Bull, but again, a 25% chance on attack ain't that great. The Lion? Well, we can't go into the Lion, yeah. So of the order stuff, the stuff we can cross into is the scarab and the bull. So let's see what's in the plus 30% internal trauma damage. That's really good, actually. Yeah, okay. Let's go for the bull. Yeah, let's try to get into Empyrean's stuff. So as you can tell, we've only got so many left, and the bull rush, we'll figure that out later. I mean, I guess we could do the thing where we take out the 1 point in Crossroads and go for something like the lion, but the lion doesn't really... 2% physical resistance is cool, and it only takes 3 to get 3 order, but what are we actually... 6% movement speed. Huh. Okay. The crane gives 5. 12% poison and acid resistance. Ooh, that actually is really good. Yeah. Yeah, okay. But here's the other thing, is what gives us primordial, and... because what we need for this is 8 orders, so we don't need that much. We need a lot more primordial, though. What will give us a ton of primordial? The gallows ain't that great. What we need is stuff that will give us a ton of it, but also be, like, good, you know? We could use some defensive stuff. Plus 10% movement speed is stupidly strong. 15, yeah, like, this is just stupid good. We could just go into Sailor's Guide. So... we could get the bull... Sailor's Guide, crane. Check out what the knife is doing over. Well, that doesn't really give us the... I mean, that gives us some good stuff, but it's not really what we're looking for. The Dryad. 33% chance on attack. Yeah, I'd rather avoid that. Panther, huh? That looks like it's more for minion guy. We could get the Dire Bear, but that doesn't really give us anything. Okay, like if we're looking at order stuff, right? It seems like the bull and the crane, like that would give us the... that would almost give us the order requirement. If we got the bull, the crane, and the lion just for movement speed, so that would be what? 5, 10, 13? We'd already be at 36. So from that we'd be at 36 with 10 primordial. Yeah, I'm not sure how good that is compared to just kind of going in on where we're at. I mean, I just really want some resistances, and Empyrean has a ton of good resistances, but if I remember right, you only get, like, 36 on the first difficulty. So, this gives 3. Is there anything that we could take off for 3? Because the constellation, the affinity requirements are 5, 3, 3. Well, that's primordial. I don't want to get rid of that. Yeah, it seems like we kind of got the best that we could get from that. I'm not sure how good reaching further will get, like, will be, rather. I mean, we could just go Crane, Lion, and then Empyrean requires 18. But we could go into the Imp, but I'm not sure what the Imp really gets. Yeah, I don't really like that. %20 reduce target's elemental resistances for 3 seconds. That's actually super important. Okay. We might have to get the Viper, actually, for what we're doing. Yeah, hold on. See, that's the other thing, is that this would help with more elemental damage. See, this would be going more into our... Okay, well here, physical damage. This requires an axe or spear, so we're not doing that. That doesn't help us at all. Requires a mace. That is stupidly good. The crab. Oh no. Wow, okay, I think we want to go for the crab, actually. But how do we get that? Huh. So I guess we could go for the crane. And then put one into Ascendant to get the crab. Okay. Sorry if this has been a little bit boring, but, you know, I just kind of wanted to game this out. I should probably write that down somewhere or something. Hold on. I was going to say, I should have a pen in here. I mean, I write, for crying out loud. Should have a pen and paper here. So... Crossroads. And then we can acquire crab. Now, how much does a crab give? Oh, just 3 of this Ascendant. Requires a mace, right? Holy crap! I think we might go for Oleron as our final. That is stupendous. Okay, yeah. Maybe. Alright, well, enough of that. We'll go back to Devil's Crossing for now. And get that taken care of immediately to, like, respec into the one order to get the crane.
I sense turmoil within you.
Yeah, okay, lady, thanks.
Stay strong.
Alright. And then it's crane. Look at how much stuff we have open too, by the way. It's kind of pretty in a weird way. Like just having all that stuff lit up. But yeah, we'll get into the crane, and then the cool thing is, again, that the crane justifies its own cost. So once we get done with the crane, we can take that out, put it back into Crossroads to get, and honestly, now that I think about it, that will have a justification, like the initial point, for every single color. So we won't have to deal with the Crossroads again. We could just take this out and put it in whatever we want once the crane's over with. So we finally get that free floating point back into an actual investment. Like, we no longer have to have that point floating around, bouncing between the Crossroads. Ideally, anyway. Ideally, of course. I mean, we still have to have it... well, actually, I misspoke, because, yeah, we'd still have to have it for the crab. Anyway, we're going to go into this chthonic rift. And in here, we're going to see some of the... Oh, and notice, you cannot make a portal in here. Yeah. There's an obsidian shard, and if I get close enough to it, you should be able to see... Oh, I guess this one isn't one of the sappies. Alright, well, this is the void. Like, we're actually in the void right now. This is what it looks like. It's pretty grim. Now, we're looking for something in particular here, if you believe it. These are Shaleborn. You know the rock monsters from earlier? These are basically those things, but made of obsidian and Chthonian aligned. They do a hideous amount of damage if they hit you with their big, ugly claws, so don't let them do that. We are going to be, hopefully, avoiding that at all costs. Like I said, that's kind of a running thing, is that Chthonics do hideous amounts of damage with their melee attacks, so you definitely don't want them attacking. In melee, if you can help. Now, the thing about this place is that it's very confusing. There's not really any good landmarks. And whenever you're in one of these rifts, there's a lot of these things around everywhere. Like, it's very easy to end up going around one way to get, like, surrounded as you're dealing with another group. So, you kind of need to be methodical about how you clear out the area. And then, of course, on Veteran, we're going to have stuff like Drygal Ukog, the Charger, apparently. Now, that is still a Shaleborn, so he's going to do a ton of damage if he hits us. Like, with his melee attack. So, let's try to avoid that. Just bait it out, dodge. As you can see over to the right, there's another group. Kind of getting at what I meant by the whole, you can end up running from one group into another pretty easily in this environment. Not to say that you can't in other environments, but, like, it's particularly easy here, especially with how, oh, and by the way, those things can, like, cast Bone Prison, which, like, Obsidian Prison.
That skill's not ready.
I just use Bone Prison because I've been watching, that Zarf Zarfir, the loot goblin guy, his Diablo 2 videos, and I was thinking of like how that basically is Bone Prison, the Diablo casts from Diablo 2, from the videos I've seen. Like I said, I haven't played it, I've just been watching videos of it. But it's basically the same idea where they just cast Cage and you can't move, which is bad if you're a ranged character. Now, this is where we start seeing some of the more dangerous chthonic entities, like the soul drinkers or whatever. I believe they're actually called like chthonic parasites. But those things are also hideously dangerous, like most of the other stuff, like Shaleborns or whatever. Yeah, the Void Leech. Yeah, those Void Leech things, Void Parasites, whatever, they're bad news. Now, somewhere in here should be at least one rift that doesn't just take us out. And I mean, like, take us out of the area. Normally, those crystals do a ton of damage. They zap you like the ethereal crystals do. Except, like I said, they do a ton more damage, which is not great. Also, I have about had it with my phone doing this. Come on. It says screen timeout. I used to have it off, and now it's after 30 minutes, except it doesn't actually do it after 30 minutes. It does it after like 15 seconds or something. It's stupid. There, hopefully that'll keep it from doing that. I know it definitely has not been 30 minutes. Good grief. Okay. Again, I used to keep track of the time, so it's kind of important I could just look over there and go, ah, yeah, okay, it's, you know, been 10 minutes, 20, etc. Now, as you can see, these guys take damage. A lot of it. They're kind of good at it. Really. And this place is really dark. I'll try and see if I can see it. Like, I don't know if you can see that. I had to turn the brightness up on my screen, so. I wonder if there's like a full screen gamma. Let me turn that up a bit. This is the creepiest part to me about this area, is that there's just water. I don't know if that's coming through on YouTube, but like, look at that. I mean, you can see the bounding box, actually. That's a little scuffed. But like, that you can see that there's just water here. I mean, imagine what's in that water. That's the stuff of nightmares, you know? Anyway, let's put that back where that belongs. At a nice, middling, can't see anything level. But now that I turn my screen brightness down. Yeah, that's really hard to see anything. Wow, okay. I like keeping my brightness low so that I'm not staring at a, you know, halogen lamp for hours on end. But yeah, that does make it more difficult to see, for sure. Yeah, what we're looking for is a rift that doesn't just take us out of this area. There should be two in this area. The one that leads to a new area. Ooh, I wasn't looking at my health there. Almost paid for that. Alrighty. Keep on rolling. Keep on going through here. What was that? Oh, another Blood of Cthon. Now let me motion sickness warning. Okay, there we go. Reorient the camera to the compass. I'll try not to move the camera too much. Oh, so that I know, glancing at the mini-map, where I'm going. I try to do that anyway, but with a ranger character, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of better to be able to see stuff from a distance to get the camera advantage, as it were. We could definitely use more damage, that's for sure. Oh, I don't like being in this corner. That's not good. Alright, excellent. As you can see, that thing is super tanky. Char Luthal, shielded. Yeah, okay. Well, that's enough out of him, huh? Yeah, okay. We've almost mapped the area. The southern area. Anyway, my ear got itchy. Ugh. Come on, don't... Come on. It's like shooting at a fence in a first person, like a chain link fence in a first person shooter and the bullets don't go through. It's that kind of thing. Like, dude, you can't shoot between the ribs on that giant bone spire. Come on. Come on. Come on! Give me a break. I'm not saying that our guy here, our intrepid hero, One Button Man, needs to be a sharpshooter, but, and I'm not saying that I'm particularly great, right? I'm just saying. You would think that you could shoot between the giant ribs at the, like, 8-foot tall monstrosity. Yeah. Ear. Alright. I don't know what that sting was about. Ooh, goodness. I meant like the audio sting, like the dun... Like, what? I mean, I'm a fan of incongruous audio stings. Like whenever you hear like a horror noise and nothing happened. I do like that. I haven't really mentioned it, but you can tell, like, from this house, that stuff has been, that those portals have been opening up, and they're basically, it's like that guy said at the opening to the Blood Grove, that they're opening up just kind of willy-nilly, and stuff is being taken through them kind of willy-nilly. Like you just a random house being carted into the void. It ain't great, you know, but I guess on the one hand, it's better that they're random than targeted, because at least then you know that the Cthon cult aren't using them as a weapon. But on the same time, if it's random, you never really know where's safe. You could just be hiding out in a house and then you're transported here. You know, it's not good. Okay. Come on, buddy. Alright, let's go ahead and open this. Wow. Random money loot. I'm glad that our damage isn't that bad. Yeah, it's not great that it's taken that long to kill these Shaleborn. The whole point is that they're tanky, I get it, but I would ideally be having them drop faster. I mean, obviously, that's always the case, right? Like, anything more than one hit is... You can get better. What I'm saying in the direct, I would like to be doing a little bit better on the... eliminating the tanks front whenever they show up, and the reasoning why will become hideously apparent whenever we get to a certain boss. Now here's the first Chthonic Rift. Let's check it. If this just takes us back out, it's the wrong one. Yeah, okay. So we know now that that right there is the wrong one. This is where we end up from taking the other rift. So if I'm not mistaken, there should be a second rift out here somewhere. This may not be the rift that I'm thinking of that takes place in, but I'm kind of, sort of, half remembering that there is a rift where... Oh, wow. Ragnadar, the Great Maw. Nag Radar. No, Ragnadar, not Nag Radar. He has a radar for annoying old ladies.
Not ready.
And or I think a nag is also like a old female horse. I'm not an equestrian, so, you know, I wouldn't know. Oof. Almost died on that one. Hulking leg guards. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I don't think that guy was there whenever we came through here last time. Yep. I don't know if you can hear the ambiance here, but... Yeah, what was that? Oh, was that like the noise? Maybe that was the noise of my guy getting all of his spirit back or something? I don't know. Growling noises. And or burping noises. I'm not sure which one you'd classify that as. It sounded kind of like a growl, but, you know, it also kind of sounded guttural, like a stomach growling. Or perhaps someone recording themselves burping and then pitch shifting it downward, and then slowing it. You'd be surprised at how they get some of those Foley effects, you know? Ear got itchy again. I'm still hoping this is the rift that I was thinking of, because if it is, we've got another devotion point coming, but if it isn't, that stinks. But we should still be fine. Yeah. I'm not sure how large this landmass is. Oop, definitely don't want to get hit with that. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Another pack of enemies. Now, as you can see, there's kind of like different levels of, kind of like how there's different levels of the Ravager and the Incinerator. There's different levels of the Shaleborn, and obviously the larger, more ornate-looking ones are going to do more damage if they hit you with their awful, awful claws. So you definitely don't want that. Okay. Oh, well, that was nice, so we got a level up. But, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, I could have sworn there was a couple of stragglers. Alright, so speaking of our damage, I wanted to get Fighting Form leveled up all the way, and I'm not kidding about that, but... Okay, so... There's a couple of things for me to think about here. One of them being Markovian's advantage and Zolhan's technique. Getting those leveled up enough could be a real good boon. Because we don't really have, unlike the Inquisitor, we don't have a whole lot of the percentage-based trigger on attack things like what I almost called him Dehydrate. What Hydrate has. Now, I shouldn't have to explain the way that percentages works, but 12 is a 6 in 50, which, if you want to boil that down further, is 3 in 25. Which, if you want to boil that down further, would be like 1.5 in 12.5. But it's best to stick with whole numbers. So, if we get that to 20, that goes from, right, that goes from 6 in 50 to 10 in 50, which is 1 in 5, right? Which is good, obviously. Now, this activates when we take damage at all, and that is really good. Kind of. The further we go into the story and the higher difficulties, if we do go into the higher difficulties, we want to take less and less damage, so that's kind of a backhanded power-up. Like, you don't want to be taking damage, if possible. I kind of took that in the early game just to have it, but might get rid of that. Now, obviously, one thing that... Oh, yeah, Oleron. Well, maybe it is better to just have... speaking of Oleron for the devotion screen, maybe that is thematic that we end up with Oleron, but as cool as it is that we can just go with Oleron's Rage, the upside and the downside are they sort of make an equivalence. Because Oleron's Rage is always useful, we should upgrade, in theory, the stuff that isn't always useful first, right? Like, because we can always just dump into this. So, with that kind of thought, let's look at what Cadence is doing for us. So 270% main hand damage. So that's what Cadence is doing every time we get that third shot. Now that's a guaranteed on every third shot. So let's look at Zolhan's technique. If we level that up 3 times, that's 145%, which isn't that impressive compared to Cadence. There's other stuff attached to it, right? And Cadence is only on every third shot. So we can't like look at that and compare it really evenly to, because a normal shot is just going to be a normal shot. Each time that these take over a normal shot's spot, you get what I mean? We're getting something that would not have triggered otherwise. So, but if we go over here, 62 reduced target's defensive ability. I don't know about all that. Plus 45% to all damage. That's interesting. I'm not really sure how long that plus 45% to all damage. Like if that's just always on or what. This passes through enemies. So I want to get that first. Kind of. But because this is less opportune, I want to get it earlier. I'm not sure when that maxes out, but I want to get both of these up to 20% so that on each shot we have two 20% rolls, like each normal shot, at doing a non-normal shot in between cadence shots. Does that make sense? Because cadence, you're not going to trigger one of those on. The third shot, if you trigger cadence, well, every time you trigger cadence on the third shot, you are not going to have the chance of activating, from what I've read, the activate on default attack skills. So, really, for every 3 shots, this is the kind of video game math that we're doing here. For every 3 shots, we have 1 shot that is 100% going to be taken up by cadence. So, really, for every 3 shots, we have two-thirds of those 3 shots. So, like, imagine a pie graph, right, where we have 3 sections of the pie. So, I didn't mean to touch the mic there. I'm talking with my hands right now, as stupid as that is. But, like, imagine the circle that I'm making with my hands you can't see. It's split like a peace sign into 3 co-equal parts. Now, one of those thirds for every 3 shots, that's a set, right? That whole circle is each attack, like, let's call that a rotation. So we have rotations of 3 shots for each cadence, like, activation. 2 of those shots, we now have each shot 2 20% rolls. Now, the odds on 2 20% rolls is not the same as 1 40%. Which, that's where it gets complicated and my weakness at math, let alone at probability math, starts kicking in. But the thing that really needs to be noted is that that's not the same as having 1 40%, right? So, if you had 2 5-sided die, and you roll 2 5-sided die, that's obviously a bit different than having the ability to get, right, so hitting 1 on 2 5-sided die is different qualitatively than getting 1 or 2, like, you know, the little dots, like 1, 2, 3, you know, like the little dots, how they signify what side of the die, right? So if you're going for snake eyes, like, or a snake eye, like the 1 dot side, on 2 5-sided die on each attempt, that is not the same as having to go for 1 and 2 on the same 5-sided die each time you do something. Does that make sense? It's a different probability. But rolling 2 dice is nice. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but rolling 2 dice is actually kind of nice. If only because you're having 2 separate shots taken. Right? Like, that also adds, like, a bit of spiciness to what we're talking about. The odds may be different, but they're not, like, different in a bad way. They're just different. Like, 2 20% shots is different than having, I mean, another good way to look at it is the reason why this is so difficult is because dice are 6-sided. Typically, like, the most common dice is 6-sided, which is kind of annoying for probability metaphors, right? And a coin only has 2 sides, which makes it a lot more difficult to, you know, talk about. You know, if only dice were all 5-sided, right? Then so much would be so much easier to talk about regarding probability in gaming. Now, the reason why all of this stuff matters, like where I learned all of this stuff, was watching and learning how to play Magic the Gathering for like Magic the Gathering Arena and stuff like that, and other trading card games. Like I've only ever played Magic the Gathering digitally on, like I said, like Magic the Gathering Arena, and I may do videos of that eventually. But yeah, man, like you would be shocked what learning that kind of like back of the hand quick percentage math can do. It's the difference between winning most of the games that you play with a rather average deck, and by rather average I mean like it's the difference between being able to make a deck out of commons and uncommons that can take down decks that are mainly rares and mythics, and making a deck full of mythics and rares and getting your butthole handed to you by some random joker who's using a deck full of commons and uncommons. Layered strategies and such. Anyway, this obviously wasn't the rift that I was thinking of because it doesn't have that second exit rift. So we just kind of went in there and got a bunch of XP. I'm not exactly unhappy about that. So over here's those farmers, I guess. Yeah, that we were looking for. Biff. There we go. We should probably take care of all of the other horrors lurking about, yeah. It'd be kind of a... I mean, I know that our guy does the Riftgate thing, but still, like, you probably shouldn't have a casual conversation while you're surrounded by horrors from another dimension. Maybe, like, secure the area first, kind of thing. Alright. Lysandra. I don't know who you are, but I don't much care. You're not a cultist, at least you don't look like one. Please get us out of here. Those buttholes have been taking us out of the cage one at a time. We were forced to watch while they drained a man completely of his blood. It was horrible. I can get you all back to Homestead via Riftgate. At this point, I would settle for anything. Just get us home. See you in Homestead. Excellent. There you go. Now then, this is still an incredibly large area. And there's still some stuff to take care of. Honestly, we got the singular most dangerous guy in here taken care of, which is that jerk with the Inquisitor pistol stuff going on. That guy is like exceedingly, stupendously dangerous. So with him gone, we're kind of safe, honestly. I need to go around here. I want to just show something off. We'll take this loot. But I kind of want to show something off. But how convoluted this map is can kind of work against doing that. Go around here, and then I think down. I got the memory of a goldfish whenever it comes to stuff like this, so sorry if I keep having to stop and look at the map. Oh, the Kaiman's chosen. Excellent. Okay, it should be like around here, I think. Oh, those Kaiman's chosen guys were hanging out just like right next to the necromancers, huh? Okay. Yeah, these guys ain't doing a very good job of keeping the area clear. Okay, these dudes are right outside. Like, what the heck? Okay, whatever. There's something I wanted to get within eyesight, visual range of before cutting the video. Do 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 da 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 da. There we go. We're not exactly there yet, but we're getting there. Okay, so that's all on this side. That is kind of unfortunate. That's unfortunate for one reason, because that means I'm not really sure where the entrance is to the area that I was thinking of. And that's unfortunate for another reason, because hold on. There's a quest. It's the Kaiman's, not Kaiman, but the Blood Grove, the Griver's Mill in the Blood Grove quest over there. I'm trying to make sure that, because it's really easy, at least for me, to miss where that Blood Grove's at. Like, I ran right past it on Hydrate, and I kind of don't want to do that this time. Oh, this is Necromancers fighting Kaiman's Chosen. Yeah. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Hey, nice, another seal of binding. Well, at least he's stupid enough, just to... At least he's as dumb as I am and was shooting at the side of a tree. Ooh, goodness. that's a lot of damage. Okay. Oof. Yeah, watch. Yeah, those boys do a lot of damage.
Can't do that yet.
Yeah, that Griver's Mill area is not that large. I remembered it being like right there. We're at the point now where if it is, it'd be faster and easier to teleport back. Huh. Well, since that's the case, I'm going to go up here, position us so that whenever we get back, we can go outside the contours of the eastern edge and sort of finish off the map in this direction. And then once we've done that, get back to looking for Griver's Mill. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I know where it's at. It's just that it's so easy to miss that it's kind of a pain in the rear. Spiders, because you can never forget about spiders. Spiders are always relevant. Now, if I remember right, this is like a mini side quest. It's not a real side quest, quote unquote, but it's like one of those where you go for it and, yeah, like you solve it right as you get it. We'll talk to Mila Finnegan right after we get back. Yeah, acid reflux, man. Ugh. Anyway, let's get back to Homestead because we're going to need a piece of dynamite. So let's go ahead and get that. And then I'll cut the video.
Safe storage, no questions asked.
Yep, just one. Slam that into that spot. Alright, be back in a bit.